Peace and blessings, my family. Uncle Jasanab Udamakie. I'm going to talk about Kemet today. And we're actually going to call it Kemetaphysics. Let's talk about Kemetaphysics. When we talk about Kemetaphysics, we're going to talk about the restoration of yourself as Osar, or Osiris, if you may. This echoes the resurrection of our own multidimensional being. So you have these components of self. You have the Ba, which is the soul, the Ka, which is your vital essence, the Ku, which is your intellect, the light body, the Ren, which is your name. Because in African tradition, it is believed that when someone has a name, you can call upon the spirit of that entity. In Ancient Kemet, it was believed that if you didn't have a name, you didn't exist. Then there's the Shechem. The Shechem is the spiritual power. The Sahu, the spiritual body. The Khat, which is the physical body. All these things harmonize through Heka, which is divine utterance, and made Makeru, through a voice, before the scales of Ma'at. So for those of you who are familiar with Ma'at, Ma'at is law, order, justice, righteousness, reciprocity, and so on. So you have this first aspect of you, which is the Khat, which must be sanctified. This is your physical body. It is the altar in which your spirit dwells within. So the Khat is the foundation. It's the flesh, the skin, the blood, the bone. Now, if it's neglected, it cannot hold the divine circuit. So we want to cultivate the purity of our Khat through fasting, movement, clean food, solar rituals like solarization. We cleanse with oils, herbs, and intentional touch like Reiki and hands-on healing, the laying of hands, and so on. The resurrection of Osir begins when our body is made worthy to act as the sacred house in which the divine netter dwells. You have your Ka. Now the Ka, that must be strengthened. So you have your vital force in which must circulate in order for you to have a strong Ka. Right? So for those who are familiar with internal martial arts, which is also a form of internal alchemy, the working of the Ka is to strengthen the energy body, the energetic aspect of you. So it's your life energy, your flame of continuation, and it flows through breath, connection, sensual presence, and you feed it with joy, discipline, divine sexual harmony when you take and cultivate sexual energy and raise it to a higher level, right? As well as sacred fasting. So the Ka, when it's elevated, it becomes the generator of intent. So it's the divine pulse and beneath Heka, which is also spirit power. The Ba. Now the Ba must be activated is the essence that transcends what we call death or what we think is death. The Ba is your soul, right? It was pictured as a bird in Ancient Kemet. It is your divine individuality. So it soars after death, but also needs direction during life. Through solar meditations, ancestral invocation, and purpose-aligned ritual, your Ba gains clarity, speaks truth, which empowers the self. And when you speak truth, you actually empower your Ba. So it's about speaking truth when it comes to having a strong presence or a strong Ba and living truth. So when Ma'at weighs it, it may be as light as a feather. You see? Hence we get the Ab spelled backwards. Ab, Ba. The Ku, that's your illuminated self, your light body. It carries your spiritual intelligence. So the Ku is your radiant light form, the vehicle of light, or that is divine insight and perception. It's strengthened when we work through dream work, like lucid dreaming and so on, philosophy, cosmic study, and initiation into various mysteries. So Aset preserves the pieces of Osir, and the Ku preserves the teachings of the soul and sharpens divine discernment. You have your name, the Ren. Now, the Ren must be remembered in order for your ancestral self to be called upon. Your true name is your soul signature. So the Ren is not just your birth name alone. Okay? It's the vibratory code of who you are across lifetimes. So you ritualize your very naming. So for those of you who practice African traditions, right, or various other spiritual traditions, you discover that when you go through forms of initiation, you receive a name representing the new aspect of yourself or the new self, because the old self has changed. So in other words, you are not who you were before initiation, before you received this new name and became a new being. So in other words, that name is also another vibration in which you've inherited through your initiatory process. So it's spoken of during invocation as well. So if someone who's invoke you as an ancestor or evoke you as an ancestor or call upon you, they're going to use your Ren, right? So you whisper your own name into the stars, write it into the scrolls. You're not just a title, you are a frequency. And when the Netzeru or the gods call you, let your Ren vibrate, Ma'at. The Shechem. The Shechem must be wielded. It is your spiritual power. It must be cultivated. The Shechem is not status, it is your spiritual gravity. You cultivate it through service, mastery, and divine embodiment. Kind of what the Yoruba call Ewapuele. It awakens when your choices align with the truth. So do not just collect Shechem, you earn it through soul radiance. It's what makes the spirits listen, the doors open, and the darkness to dissipate. You have your Sahu. Now the Sahu must be formed. Your spiritual body must be structured. The Sahu is a configuration of your Ka, your Ba, your Ku, and the Ren into a unified form of ascension. The ritual is through fasting, breath work, divine diet, or higher diet. And you're putting better things into your body, alkaline-rich foods, and the foods that's going to help electrify you as opposed to weigh you down. And also with geometric meditation, where this assists you in shaping your Sahu. It is your temple in the unseen realms. So when you complete your work, you walk between realms. Heka. Heka must be purified. It is your words which must summon divinity. Heka is magic through utterance, speech as energy. So you want to master your tongue. Speak only what builds, heals, uplifts, and awakens. Study the Kemetic chants, solar mantras, dream codes. Heka shapes worlds. Wosir was reassembled through ritual speak. So you want to speak your resurrection daily. So therefore you want to say things that raise you up. In the Yoruba tradition, they have an Odu called Ika, which sounds a lot like Heka. So it's Ika Meji. That is the Odu in which we gather our power, right? But if it's an Osogbo, if it's negative, what happens is that you got to be careful of saying negative things in which you can hex yourself. So you don't even want to joke negatively about yourself, because it is an aspect of you that will hear that and take that personally. That's how powerful you are, and that's how powerful the universal mind is, in which we're all a part of. The voice must become Makaru, true and balanced. So before Ma'at, all souls are tested according to the Kemetic tradition, which I call Kemetaphysics in this case. The voices of an individual must match their vibrations. So to be Makaru is to emit truth effortlessly, to practice truth in thought, deed, and sound. You want to recite affirmations that reveal, not conceal. Only aligned voices pass through the gate of immortality. So you also have like the gathering of your own fragments. So a lot of times when people go through trauma, pieces of them get scattered, kind of like Osiris's body being cut up into pieces and scattered. Or the same thing with the sacred calabash being broken and shattered and scattered. Osiris' body was scattered across the land, so the aspirant too must feel fragmented at times. So rituals of self-assembly, sun invocation, and ancestral communication, fasting, libation, movement, each act retrieves a lost piece of the self. Each with ceremony, you become more whole. Remember, to become holy is to heal. And Kemetaphysics is about bringing the pieces that have been broken and scattered back together again. Well, family, we're going to talk more about this in the future. Peace, love, blessings.